Hello, everybody. Hey, resellers. Thanks so much for tuning in today. We decided to just jump in this thing together live since you already know who my extra super special guest is today. I am thrilled beyond measure that Drew agreed to be over here and to support me on this endeavor. I definitely tried hard to pick a full-time reseller that kept things real with you guys, because today we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly on eBay this week. And so while I like to keep things very super positive, we sometimes need to talk about a little bit of the negative also. So we'll give you guys a little bit of time to jump in, and I'm going to try to pull up the chat here also. But Drew, say hi to everybody and introduce yourself in case they live under a rock and don't know who you are.
What's going on, guys? My name is Drew. I go by Profit Monsters on YouTube and Drew_Thrifts and Flips on Instagram. I'm a full-time reseller. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years. And yeah, I'm married. I got 2 kids and I'm loving life. I love what I do. I love flipping. I love thrifting and reselling stuff. And I totally agree, though. I think that, you have to be able to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'm so happy that you asked me, because there's not a lot of people that talk about it. You see all the people showing their package stacks and all these happy things that are going on, but the truth of the matter is there's so many assets of reselling and factors that people don't talk about enough, and it's something that I actually really enjoy talking about. So I'm really excited that you asked me to be on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, you brought up a good point. Like when we're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and with future guests, because I know some folks have reached out about being a part of the show in the future. And I don't want like your best story ever in reselling, or I don't want your worst story ever. I want to know like what happened this week. And that's hopefully what we're going to be talking about today. Sometimes we might have to pull from other weeks if nothing super eventful happened, but because like I was talking to my husband today and I said I could meet someone at the thrift store and tell them what I do, and I could talk to them all day long about like Rothy's that I sold for $400, but that doesn't happen every week. And so that good story, like the good this week, maybe I didn't get any returns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So still in an attempt to keep it like super, super real with people, and like more than anything, learn from each other's mistakes. So hopefully while some more people are joining, let me go up to the top of the chat here and welcome some people. You guys be super patient with me and grant me some grace today, because this is my first live. So Lisa K was in here, and I saw earlier that she had to run for some family stuff. So hopefully she can be back, because she's just been like an OG supporter of my channel. Sue's along the way says hello to us, and that she loves the thumbnail. Somebody like Paul Philly Flipper mentioned that was photoshopped, and I had to correct him and tell him that we did pose for that photo. So a little misconception over on Instagram. Oh, by the way, I wore my bolo tie to go along with the theme of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Jennifer Hayes is here, which I super, super appreciate, because she's the greatest moderator in the history of YouTube. If people outside of the reselling community ever hear about what a great moderator she is, then they're going to try to steal her from us and probably put her on a payroll or something. Michelle Heath, hello. Here's my husband, also a Drew, and also a bearded Drew. It's the final countdown, he says. So he's watching, hopefully not lagging me. You guys have to tell me if I start lagging, because he's trying to support me from upstairs and watch the channel also. A great supporter of my YouTube and Instagram also here. Now, this guy does some really cool like mocks, dioramas of WWE and WCW and things like that. Love the picture so much. Thank you. Oh, this is my dad. Remember the old drive-in theaters when people would honk their horns to get the movie started? Honk. My parents are watching from Florida, so they're not far from you. Let's see. The absolute best thumbnail ever. Rachel looks great in everything. Oh, thanks. I kind of wondered, like after I made that, I realized how feminine Clint Eastwood pose kind of looked. Like after I put my head on his body. And Adam says, "Are you ready? Let's go." And he seems like
Adam.
Yeah, he's about to do a boxing match or something. But can we say how legit Gangster Drew looks back then? I said I should have asked Drew if he was comfortable holding a gun before I put you in that photo like that. So, yeah, you guys are awesome for showing up and for being here. I will try not to spend too long. Just telling everybody hi. Been to a drive-in theater, but never had to honk. Yeah, there's not. Have you been to a drive-in before, Drew?
Nope.
Never?
No.
Oh my gosh, my grandparents used to own one when my mom was a kid, so she had a lot of experience in them. They made sure to take us to one when we were kids. There's one not far from here, though.
That's cool.
The Hoogs are here. So excited to see them. They're awesome.
Hey, Connor and Desiree.
And let's see. Excited. Already ate all my popcorn. My parents put me up on the big screen TV in their house whenever my show's on. So Jesse Shops is here. Thanks so much for being here. And what's up, everyone? Let's see. Philly Flipper. Paul, thanks so much for being here. He's had some internet issues, some electricity issues, and water issues the past day. So let's see who I can put into timeout before the show starts. He's a moderator. So yeah, help me out, guys. So I'm so happy to see y'all. What did you bring in the way of, before we do get totally started, I see the ATL Flipper is here. And I posted recently over on my Instagram about their recent video. So Jasmine has joined Derek recently in his YouTube. And if you guys have not watched them yet, like that girl is such a natural at YouTube. I'm going to have her on this show very, very soon. She is so funny and she's witty and she's a little sarcastic with Derek sometimes. You guys need to definitely check out the ATL Flipper and head over there and run up their watch hours because they deserve to be banking bank on YouTube, to be honest with you.
There's some people that are just really natural at it, and it's just like it comes first nature for them.
Yeah.
You're one of them, to be honest. I mean, going back to all your old videos, I pick on you a little bit because you have a different hair color in every video, but I mean, you've got videos of like reviewing Groove Book from Shark Tank, and you're like, you just pop in there and you're like, hey guys, what's going on? Here's my review, and like you just jump right into it. You're just so natural at it.
I think I was holding my baby in that video too. And he was like a little bitty baby at the time. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's all the pageant experience for you guys that don't know. And I got my super sequiny pageant-y top on today. I'm a pageant queen girl. So I think that just gives you like a lot of people skills to talk in front of people. I joke sometimes that if you dared me at a restaurant to stand up and sell a coat hanger, I would sell the coat hanger. Like, give me the mic.
Clearly, I'm pageant material too. That's why
that's
why you chose me. You didn't choose me for any other reason other than I'm pageant material.
I mean, your vocabulary was one of the reasons why I asked you on the show, to be honest with you. And I remember in the past, for me personally, like having dumbed down my vocabulary because I felt like it was too much around some people. And I would encourage anyone, like, don't ever dull your shine to make other people feel comfortable. But you have such a rich vocabulary, and I felt like that could enhance this show in a big, big way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Give out a shout out to Bama Pickin' and Grinnin', also another great channel you need to check out. But yeah, I could probably spend all day here talking to everybody in the comments and just saying hi. But I know you guys came to hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, I feel like these lights might be a little bright. Am I glowing?
You look fine to me.
Just a little bit. And to preface also, guys, I had this really great setup in my office, but the laptop that we had in there was just not real solid, and I was a little Minecrafty. And so that's what the internet issue was, and we wanted to definitely bring you guys more of a quality show than that. So yeah, I will disconnect from Wi-Fi on my phone, so hopefully we don't have that issue in the future. We're going to talk about good, bad, and ugly stuff on eBay this week. So something good is obviously going to be like the best things that happened to us. And the bad stuff is going to be things that went wrong. Maybe it was our own fault, but we were able to remedy it in some way. And the ugly is going to be something that resulted in a $0 sale. You know, you had to give a refund, or you just totally screwed up and you lost the sale. So while Drew and I are talking about this, we encourage you guys to be in the comment section and also talking about the same thing, because I want to highlight the good, bad, and ugly things that you went through. Because like if you had a $20 lesson, and we were talking about this the other day about it being paying for my tuition when I screw up, and I'm like, well, that was a $20 life lesson. Why can't I learn from your $20 too? So if we share the stories, then we'll be able to learn from each other. So I feel like it would only be fair if I started with you, Drew, and maybe ask you, what was something super good that happened on eBay this week?
Let's see, super good. I mean, I feel like for me, it's a little bit tough to just pick one thing, which is, however you want to carry out the conversation throughout the night. I'm down to talk as long as you want. I also cross list on multiple platforms. So like being a reseller, like my whole business isn't just revolved around eBay. But let's see something really good that happened on eBay. Let me go look at my store real quick.
No problem. While you're doing that,
I'm trying to pick one.
Do you want me to talk about my good thing that happened while you're picking something?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So this week on eBay recently, and I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in a town a little bit north of here, and I picked up these staples. And where I was going to set up and do this live, I actually had the staples sitting there so I could show you guys. So you're just going to have to imagine with me. They're white boxes of staples. They're this big, and the font is what drew me to these. And I say a lot of the times, especially if you're going to sell vintage items, you need to get familiar with fonts. Like you need to know that font's from the 40s, that font's from the 50s. And it said Acme Staple Company, which was like so generic and beautiful. And the font looked like it could have been from the 40s. And I decided I wanted to pick these up. Some of them were copper. That was another reason I wanted to pick them up, because like that's not a material that you see often now. So things that are wood, metal, and glass really draw me in to vintage. So I picked up these staples, and they were 50 cents a box. I was like, why not? Why not try these staples? And I picked up an entire bag. Some of them were zinc and some were copper. And they sat in my floor for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just unlisted in this bag. And a couple days ago, I had challenged Dreaming on a Budget 1 over on Instagram to 50 listings on Monday. And so at the last minute, those were the last few things that I was listing. And I listed all these staples. And the next day, $100 worth of them sold.
Wow.
Like listing after listing of them, just because I had multiples, obviously listed, and they just kept selling. And I remembered that I hadn't bought all that the thrift store had. So it was 4 o'clock. The thrift store's 30 minutes away, and I booked it to the thrift store because they closed at 5 o'clock. And I bought the rest of them that they had, come back and sold some of those also. So it probably ended up being like $125 in sales from these staples that I feel like most resellers would have probably walked right by. And like, I was super stoked about that. And it's just like another random vintage thing. They're not making it anymore. It's made in America, and it's old. And that's the type of stuff that I pick up. So that was like a very good thing. I mean, that's groceries for the week. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's always nice. It's always the best feeling too when you like find something that other resellers passed up. I think that's like one of the best things is like Dom, Primetime Treasure Hunter, just put out a video where like some guy walked past. I won't give away the video, but some guy like walked right past something and then he picked it up and it was a really good item or something like that. But it's just when you see someone looking at something and then they either put it back and you like go grab it because you're thinking to yourself, why is this person not going to buy this? And, one thing that I like to do when I'm at thrift stores is I kind of play this game in my head called Thrifter or Flipper. So when I see people looking at stuff,
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, is this person buying it to flip, or are they buying it because they just are a natural thrifter and they like to save money? And so it's fun to see like different people looking up comps or people just looking at condition and then putting it in their cart. So when you find something like that and then it sells quickly, like there's just definitely no greater feeling.
I know. Like I did not expect that. Those would not have been sitting in my floor for 3 weeks. Like my husband kind of poked a little bit of fun at the fact that I picked those up. He's like, why did you buy these staples? Because like I'll buy vintage Crayola, vintage crayons, vintage chalk. I sold $30 in vintage chalk this week. like any vintage office supplies or school supplies. And I think these might have been like upholstery style staples. They were like a J shape and an H shape, but to me, they were both U shapes. So I don't understand that. That's another thing. Like, you don't have to understand everything. You don't have to be an expert in what you're selling. Just see that there's a market and sell it.
Yeah, 100%.
But what did you pick up that might be your like good thing this week?
So I actually haven't been doing a whole lot of sourcing or thrifting because I've been dealing with a couple of different things, which one thing we can talk about is definitely part of the bad and the ugly of my week is these pallets that I got. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll go into a little more detail about that situation. And then I've had some inventory from this bulk buyout that I did about 2 months ago now. And it's just like some of the lower tier stuff that I've been putting off, but it's high enough where it's not garage sale or donation worthy, but it's stuff that I'm kind of like, I really don't like listing a lot of $25 items, you know, but I said to myself, like, well, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I either need to list it or I need to get rid of it, you know, and it's not just sit. And so I've been going through that kind of stuff. And I had a shoe haul recently that I've been listing. And so I was going through that. So I haven't been doing a whole lot of sourcing. I would say that my good on eBay is I had a buyer that actually bought something from me a few weeks ago. I don't know who they are, or at least I don't remember who they are. The item that they bought, I had already sold on Poshmark and forgot to remove it off of eBay.
Dang.
So I canceled it. I messaged the buyer. I apologized and said, if you ever find anything in my store that you want now or in the future, I'll give you a discount on it. Well, so today a buyer sends me an offer of like almost 30% off of an item that I had listed. And it was a t-shirt. It wasn't anything crazy. And I counter offered. And then they sent me a message and said, hey, Drew, it's so-and-so. I had made a purchase from you earlier, blah, 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 you know, and you said you would offer me a discount and now I want to purchase this. So are you willing to offer me a discount? And so I accepted it. So that was pretty cool that this person actually came back to my store.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're in here or whoever you are, if you ever listen to this and it was you, the name like doesn't say like, you know, Drew Strickland on the name of the eBay account. So, you know, I don't remember who it was, but they came back and bought something from me, which was really cool. And that was just really nice that I
can't even get my return, like my actual buyers to return to my store. And here you got someone that you totally screwed it up with to return to your store. That is a total win. Like, that's a very good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a big sale or anything, but it was just nice that, you know, they came back and you think to yourself, like in the beginning, I have to discount this 30% off or whatever. But then the fact that you're actually creating a customer who now, once they get this item, they're going to keep my store on their shopping list, if you will.
Yeah, it's clearly someone that has you saved.
Yeah, which is crazy because that's never happened to me before. Like, at least that someone sent me a message and said something along those lines. So that was really cool.
That's really awesome. Like I said, and everyone always talks about return buyers on Poshmark, and I've been on Poshmark for a couple of years and have yet to have one return buyer. Like, do you have return customers on Poshmark?
Not that I know of, but I know that like Ryan and Lindsay, the shoe reselling couple, like they share sometimes when people like leave a message. When they make a purchase, they leave like a 5-star review and say, I've purchased from them before. This is my third pair of shoes. I love them every time, or something like that. So I really I haven't ever gotten a comment like that saying, you know, I've bought multiple times, but I'm sure maybe like once or twice. I know Robin, probably going to say her last name wrong, Stinnett. She's on Instagram. She's very involved in the reselling community. She's bought from my Poshmark closet like 2 or 3 times, and I didn't even realize it was her because she didn't send me an offer. She just made a bundle and purchased it. And then when I see the address, I go on Instagram. I'm like, Robin, why didn't you send me a bundle offer? Like, make me an offer. I would have
done better for you.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I wanted to support you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. And so,
That's awesome.
That was really nice of her. But
Carissa, Chosen Goods reseller, did me that way. And I'm like, I already printed my labels and I'm seeing which label goes on which package. And then like I saw the name of her town and I'm familiar with the town that she lives in. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then I look at the name. I was like, why didn't she tell me that she was buying this from me? I would have included something extra in there for her. Like it was already boxed up and weighed. And at this point, the label was, but I have her address now. So I'll have to send her something nice. We have a couple good things that were talked about in the chat. My good this week, I sold 3 Johnny Was tops for a total of $310. I had $3 total in them. That is beautiful. There are some vintage Johnny Was pieces that I've thrifted before that aren't a whole lot, but if you can get the embroidered pieces, I mean, yeah, $60 to $90 is typical, but obviously they got, closer to $100 a piece for them. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Paul hates me.
Drew said, my good thing is Rachel sold those staples, so now they're not in the floor. They were just sitting there in the floor. Did you say Paul hates you? I bought from Drew's store multiple times, and I'm always disappointed. Surely not. I don't believe that. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to see you guys good. I'm sorry. I probably missed a ton of them up here. Just seriously bear with me. Did you see some more goods up here that
yeah, Code Man said something that he had a pretty good sale come through. And someone else, Hell's Canyon Hustle, said sold Christmas patterns for $255. Picked them up from an estate sale. Really cool. Awesome. And then, yeah, Code Man, I'm trying to find it. He said it was above that. Let's see.
Above what I just
sold a computer processor for $320 this week. So yeah, congratulations on that.
Oh, there it is. There it is. My good thing was $300. That's awesome. So tell us how much you thrifted that or yard sold that or however you acquired that. Yeah, where did you get it also? Because I was at a yard sale once and I saw some processors from like actually a friend of mine that he does online gaming. He streams on Twitch.
Oh, cool.
He's on Twitch. And so he had a couple of these and I don't know anything about them. Again, you don't have to be an expert in whatever you're selling. And I just ran comps right there at their yard sale. Like everyone in town knows I resell. And I think I'm the only reseller in town. But I was at a new resale shop that popped up in our town today. And I asked, I said something to them about reselling. And the girl had like a less than stellar look on her face when I told her that I was reselling stuff. So like, obviously, there's a reason sometimes why you don't say anything about it. I didn't talk her down off of anything, but let me tell you what I found. We bought the Barbie that I posted about over on my Instagram. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, it's reseller Rachel Strickland. My personal is just Rachel Strickland, but you're going to see more about Jesus and running on there than reselling. Because like sometimes people just type in Rachel Strickland and resellers start following me over there. That's fine, but it's not reselling content because my friends are getting bored of that. But anyway, I bought that Barbie and Drew bought it for me. My birthday was yesterday. So he said, yeah, like let's get the Barbie for you. And she was like $10 and came with all the clothes. She was beautiful. And then I see this little like tackle box, this clear box of jewelry. And I open it up and, the first thing I'm going to do is look for marks, look for signatures. And there's 14 karat gold jewelry in there, a rope necklace that's like twisted, a charm that's 14 karat gold, and almost every other piece is sterling silver. Wow. $10 for the box.
Wow, that's insane.
$10. And so they have a couch there and it's beautiful. Drew and I comped it out whenever I got home and it's a $2,500 couch. And I think we might try to go back and buy it from them. I'd like to take the jewelry and flip it for the price that I'm going to give them for the couch.
That'd be cool.
So it'd be like I paid $10 for the couch, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, the Hoogs. They said they found a huge lot of blow molds today. Did you see that over on their Instagram?
Yeah, I did. I need to move to Idaho. I'm so tired of seeing them and freaking Osborne Thrift. Just like casually finding $1,300 items for $10 like every day.
It's so incredible. Like they paid $30. If you guys don't follow them, they're the Hoogs over on Instagram also. And I'm
happy for them, like genuinely, but sarcastically, I'm like, every time I go on Instagram, it's either the Hoogs, Tim, or Utah Bought and Gone, Zach. One of the three of them, or all three of them, have found something amazing in Utah or Idaho. And I'm just like,
It's
If
beautiful.
you didn't see today, like I had to go to a youth event before this live because I'm involved in the youth group at the church I go to. I serve as a youth leader there, and I stopped at a thrift store on the way because I had some extra time, and I posted on my story. They were selling a Adidas Buffalo Sabres jersey for $82.98.
Did see that.
And it has no players on it. It's not a CCM or like a name brand, good brand jersey. It's like a $40.
And you looked up the new price.
And I knew they're selling for like 40 to 50 bucks. And I'm just like, I find $80, price tags at my thrift store. And then, the Hoogs find, these crazy
$1,300 worth of blow molds for $30. That's what they paid. Like an entire mess of blow molds, Santa Clauses and sleighs and all kinds of like snowmen. That's why I didn't go thrifting when I was in Florida. Like I wanted to stop by and see you guys and see what you had in your haul. And that didn't end up working out, but I didn't want to go thrifting because I see the prices that you post. Justin says that he likes our thumbnail. And he said you're pretty cool too.
I'm all right.
It's all right. Oh, let's see. Yeah, you guys are awesome with the things that you're good. Okay, so this one, let's see. My good was finding that lamp today. Yeah, did you see the it's like this 3-flower kind of Tiffany style stained glass. I didn't know enough about it that I felt like I could really help Matt with it. I almost ran it through Google Lens for him because when people post on Instagram and they're like, can someone help me with this? Like I'll sit there and research your item for 40 minutes. And I'm like, Rachel, why do you do this? Do you do that?
You need to start charging that for like a service. I've used your service, so I mean, I'd be willing to pay for it.
I'm telling you, like when people at least, I don't know, 5 to 7 times a week, people will message me on Instagram and ask me to authenticate things. And I'm like, absolutely. I don't know why it gives me so much joy, but it does. And I'm like researching it and trying to see, like most of the time it's Coach. People want Coach authenticated, which I'm pretty good with that. But the thing is, Coach isn't always worth what you think it's worth. An average Coach bag from the early 2000s is going to get like $20 to $30. I have to pause this real quick because I told my husband earlier that if we got 50 people in this chat, I was going to be like ecstatic. And there's 52, 53 people. We're kind of bouncing around right now.
Let's go!
I'm like so thrilled about that you guys would show up, because my biggest thing ever on YouTube and on Instagram both is just trying to give out education and trying to entertain people, because I just always want to be entertaining. Like when I was a kid, we would charge my parents to go to the living room where we would put on music videos. So I've always tried to be entertaining, but I just want to thank you guys for that. That's really amazing.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Paul says he has some faded glory he needs authenticated. So just send over the pictures, Paul. You know I got you.
Yeah. Speaking of bags, here's a good for eBay is I got this Michael Kors bag from a friend of mine who knows I resell, and I know nothing about like purses and bags. It's definitely not my forte, but she said that she's like one of those purse girls. Like she's always had nice quality purses and brands. And she said, yeah, it's brand new. My mom bought it for me for my birthday and she paid like, I don't know, $200 for it. So you could probably sell it for $150. So I listed it for $150 and someone sent me an offer today of, I think, $115. And I was like, sold. Like I didn't even second. I didn't even try to counter offer it.
What brand was it? Do you know?
It was Michael Kors.
Oh, I'm sorry. You just said that. Yeah, Michael Kors. Yeah, and that's another brand that like certain items of Michael Kors will do better than others. And then there's like the clothing brand Michael Kors, which is like his lower end. So you always have to be conscientious of what Michael Kors you're picking up. I feel like when people pick up Michael Kors or even Polo, like they just think they always have gold Coach, and it's not. Like a pair of Coach shoes might sell for $20 sometimes. So be careful that you do run comps on some of those designer brands. But then like Gucci is a brand that I personally collect. And so I have a hard time selling it when I do find it, which is very rare here. And the Hoogs found that Gucci backpack and they messaged me to help them authenticate it. And I pulled it up and it's a piece that does not say Gucci anywhere. But like if you follow the brand, you know immediately that it's Gucci because it had that beautiful bamboo handle. And I was just thrilled about it. What does Derek says, hey guys, does anyone on here sell women's Coach shoes? Yeah, I have like 7 pairs. I don't know, maybe 9 pairs listed. I have a plug that has over 100 pairs. Yes, me. Let me know prices on those. I don't know. You know, I like yard sale prices. I just posted, and I want to encourage you guys to do the same over on my personal Instagram. I said, hey guys, I am always a buyer. I am always a buyer for these things. And kind of like how American Pickers would come up and give the list and be like, this is what we buy.
Yep.
Like, tell people what it is that you buy and like, let me get it before you take it to the thrift store and they put Sharpie all over it. Because I'm just going to buy it from there anyway. But we can make a whole video on how to get Sharpie off of stuff, right?
Yeah. Shout out my mom. She's in the chat. Hey, Mom.
Awesome. Hang on. I got to try to find her. Mom, there she is. This is your mama, right?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm always super excited when my folks show up to anything that I'm in. And my dad said it's like when they would watch the Barrett Jackson auction, they would get really excited. And he's like, you're like our own sports car. I don't know. All right. So we're going to talk about now maybe some of the bad stuff that happened over on eBay this week, because it does happen, you guys. We're not perfect. We are always learning and always making mistakes. And if you are a newer reseller and you're thinking like, why am I making so many elementary mistakes? Just know what we made them first, and we're probably still making them. Do you want to talk about your bad first?
I'm definitely making mistakes. I'm not perfect at all. Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So I had this, Matt Easy knows this one because he was with me when we found this. We went to the flea market recently and we found two Sony Mega CD players. We found a 400 unit model and a 300 unit model. And when we go to the flea market together, we do like a draft style. So we buy everything together and then we draft one by one so that we can kind of like evenly get, the quality items and not say, well, I found this at this table. I negotiated this deal. That way it's fair for both of us. And the Sony CD players were like the two things that were drafted first. Matt picked the bigger one and then I got the second one. Matt said his was having issues with something, and I tested mine, and like the tray table wasn't spinning fully because one of the tabs that the wheel sits on, it's hard to explain if you don't know exactly what the piece is, but the tab had popped out a little bit. So I just had to pop it back in place. Worked great. Tested it, put CDs in it. It grabbed the blah, blah, blah. I sold it for $200, and someone yesterday put in a return request for it saying that there's an error. Well, actually, it was over the weekend. He put the return request. I guess it was like on Sunday, I think, saying that it doesn't work. And I asked him for pictures of the error code on the unit. And he says, it says error on it. It shouldn't be that complicated. And, I said, well, I need to see pictures of the unit. And then he said that the inside band that spins, because there's like two little rubber bands, they're called belts, that spin the gears. He said one of them broke. Well, you really can't see that band is broke unless you took it apart and looked at it. So I'm kind of hesitant to accept the return.
Yeah.
The guy won't send me pictures, and since I offer free returns, there's really nothing that eBay can do to help me. So I have to take the return. But if it's in any condition different than how I sent it, I am going to withhold some of the funds because the guy wasn't willing to cooperate with me. All I was asking for was a picture of the error so I could try to, talk him through what was going on, and he didn't want any part of it. So that was probably the bad for me, but I mean, it happens. It's one of the reasons why I'm slowly stepping away from as many electronics as I used to sell, because my highest category of returns is electronics. And I'm not talking about like video game consoles. I'm talking about like the Mega CD players, DVD combo units, VHS players. They either get damaged in shipping, someone doesn't know how to use the unit. They're doing a bait and switch where they're taking your good unit for their bad unit, or, it actually is something wrong with it. And I'm just tired because the electronics are usually higher priced items, like, for me, $100, $200, $150. And to get that notification, like I had 2 return requests today for shoes, both of them saying it doesn't fit, but that's expected when you sell shoes. I'd say 1 out of every 25 to 40 pairs of shoes that you sell, you're just going to get that. And it's just part of the business. And it doesn't hurt as bad when you get a return for a $40 pair of shoes versus a $200 electronic unit that once you get back, if it's broken or the buyer damaged it or anything, you can't resell it. At least the shoes, if they're in the same condition you shipped them, you can just relist them.
For sure.
to avoid negative feedback and to avoid all that kind of stuff, I'm just going to take the return. I'll either list it for parts and get some of my money back, or I'll try to fix it myself. The belts, I mean, it's literally like a $3 or $4 belt. I should be able to fix it myself and get it listed again. So,
and then like on an item that big, I would imagine that it's heavy. What are you out on shipping both ways for that?
Yeah, I'm out about $50.
So then your cost of goods on the item is no longer what you paid for it. It's that plus 50. So you're like desperate to sell it for parts or whatever you can to at least recoup what you've lost in the item.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing that I truly don't think enough resellers talk about, especially on YouTube, to help other resellers, is that returns is a big part of eBay. Like when you're a Poshmark seller, without going off of too much on a tangent, because I don't know where you really want to go with conversation, but if you sell a pair of shoes on Poshmark and a buyer says they don't fit, they can't return them. I'm sorry, like that's not my policy. That's Poshmark's. On eBay, someone could return something and say the buyer said these were pink and they're actually magenta. Like you could literally return an item for anything on eBay. And I don't care who you are. You could offer no returns. You could offer free returns. You can decline returns. And I've tried all different ways. If there's someone in the chat, because people DM me all the time on Instagram and they're like, I just don't accept returns. And I'm like, how do you still have an eBay account? Because I tried not accepting returns, and all it resulted in to me was negative feedbacks and people yelling at me and leaving me messages all the time. Dang. So it's just crazy.
I know I don't feel like I sell at the caliber that you do. And anytime I have ever seen like your numbers or anything that you have shared, I'm like, and this isn't even his only platform. So I know I don't sell as much as you do, but I don't accept returns. And I still have return requests in my store right now. And one of them is a lady that was like, I thought the damage that you described wouldn't be as noticeable, like totally her fault. And I explained to her, that I'm sorry that you felt that way, but I'm selling this designer item at a discount, because she said that, which kind of segues into this comment here about what their bad was. But she said that it was dishonest of me to sell items in that condition. And I said, well, it was a Tory Burch bag. And I said, well, designer items are very expensive. If I can find them with a bit of damage and sell them to you at a discount, it allows people that otherwise might not be able to buy the brand. She says, Ellen Michelle says, bad this week, got told we sell garbage. So they sell garbage. And a negative review with no response when we asked what was wrong with the item. Not even sure what garbage is, but it's definitely garbage. Maybe they were voice texting. That's a Yankee accent. We're Southerners, so we can make fun of you Yankees.
Yeah, I had another negative feedback that luckily I was able to get removed because I offer free returns, which is, when you're talking about eBay, there's so many ins and outs of it. Because I offer free returns, I was able to have this negative feedback removed because a buyer left me negative feedback after demanding that I give him a discount because this baseball glove that I sold him, he claimed that it was more worn than than my pictures described. And it's a used worn leather glove. I didn't repolish it. I didn't leather wipe it. I listed it as is. And it was an expensive glove. I mean, it was like a $160 glove. But most people that buy those know what they're buying, because no person that wants to start playing baseball says, let me just go on eBay and buy the most expensive glove that this brand offers. So he asked me for a significant discount and to keep the item. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I feel like my pictures were accurate. I have free returns. Then he left me negative feedback. And then when I got the feedback removed, he then messaged me and said, how dare you have my feedback removed? I can see what kind of a person you are, and like started saying all this mean stuff to me. And then I just went ahead and blocked him. But
there's a certain point where you have to block people, and there's a point at which you have to like count your losses and move on. And like there's so much bad that comes along with the good. Obviously the whole reason for the chat here and for the series. Paul says, I had a video camera return that the buyer said didn't work. I asked for pictures like 5 times. It was radio silence. eBay still sided with him. Does not surprise me. If you guys have worked with eBay, and if you haven't, again, another purpose for this is to tell you, like, you're not alone when eBay just throws up their hands and acts like you're nothing, even though you've brought in, you know, $20,000, $40,000 in sales. They don't care if you brought in $100,000 in sales. Obviously, eBay wouldn't be there without the sellers, but they will always side with the buyers probably because their biggest competition, Amazon, is going to side with the buyer. So, I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to become the platform where buyers don't want to go there because, you know, they feel like they can get, you know, jaded or cheated by a seller? No, they're going to side with the buyer. So it's a cost of doing business. And when we thrift the items for $3 or $5, I encourage you not to look at the $50 that you lost, but the $5 that you lost.
Yeah. Well, and too, someone was mentioning in the comment section, WEW here said, do you guys do Mercari? I think that it's good to mention as well that these types of issues do happen on all platforms. Mm-hmm. It's not just eBay, but because most people that are full-time resellers that make YouTube videos and stuff specifically, or that are out on social media, primarily sell on eBay and then sell on other platforms. Like, I don't know any full-time Mercari resellers. I know people who sell on like Poshmark and Mercari, like for example, Dalton, but he sells on all platforms. But it happens on all platforms, and it's something that you have to learn and you have to build into your business model of being a reseller. Like, for every 100 items you sell, you're going to have 2 or 3 bad, you know, cases where you're going to have to fight a negative feedback. You're going to have to, you know, comp an item. You're going to have to give a buyer some money back. I mean, and in my opinion, because I've owned a brick and mortar business where I had physical customers walking into my store before I became a reseller, I owned a scooter and motorcycle shop, and having customers over the internet, as angry as they are with their words, is completely better than having people walk into your store, start cussing you out, calling you a scammer, telling them they're going to call the cops on you. And like,
you have to worry about your personal safety also.
Threatening your, I had people literally threaten my life.
Like, I have a PO box on eBay. Everything's good.
Yeah. I had people threaten me at my brick and mortar store, like over, you know, like a scooter. Like, I was working on a customer's scooter, real quick story, and they needed a new engine. Like, long story short, they needed a new engine. They blew out their motor. It was completely gone. I took it apart and showed it to them, and they said, that's not my engine. You're taking an engine out of the back room and trying to get me to spend, you know, $500. And then they sued me and took me to court.
Oh my gosh.
They accused me of, you know, trying to scam them. And I'm like, listen, why would I do that? Why would I risk my entire business and, you know, everything that I put my name under to scam one person over a couple $100? Like, it's just dumb. So, you know, when it comes to online, you definitely have to build that into your business. Understand that's going to happen. I share them on my Instagram so that I can be relatable, but also because not a lot of people else, I feel like, share that. And I kind of have gotten like Paul, Philly Flipper, Harry Tornado. A lot of them call me Eeyore sometimes, you know, because I'm like sad or whatever. But it's more just about like showing people what happens, and then that's how it, you know, this is how you deal with it. Yeah. You know, I try to always show the problem and the solution. I don't just usually say like, you know, well, when it rains, it pours. I'm just the worst reseller on eBay.
Ridiculous summer rains.
You know, because then you'll see the next post is like, I may be having, you know, a lot of returns today, but then you see me like posting a picture that I'm in my office grinding, busting out a bunch of listings, you know, to make up for it or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, there's always a rainbow after the rain, right? We can always, and like, one thing that's bad that's happened to me on, what does he say? If you don't accept, they can return.
Matt and Dalton are just trolling me.
Oh, are they? Oh, I'm not even that far down into the chat. You're probably keeping up with it way better than me. Let me go through some of this before I get to my bad thing. I got to step up my Poshmark game. Yeah, me too. If I shared on Poshmark, I'd probably be doing a lot better. I sold a sweater on there for $50 today and a pair of shoes while ago for $20. So $70. He's cracking up. I can't wait to get down to what these comments are. Haven't posted on YouTube. Yeah, Matt needs to get some YouTube content going. I tell him that all the time. I shout him out.
Don't even get me started with him. He's trolling me in the comments when he should be recording his first YouTube video.
Yes, thank you. That's what I keep telling him all the time. Make a YouTube video. I just count returns as part of the business. Yes, kind of like Target or Walmart. It is. Bottom line, the only platform that has fewer returns is Poshmark, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. That's true. Hey, I sold some Christian Dior today. I sold a Dior. No, it was Oscar de la Renta blazer, and I thrifted it for a couple bucks, and I didn't think it was going to sell for like the $50 that I got out of it. How does eBay not pull out the refund? Yeah, they sometimes you wonder how they're not going to side with you. And I called them once on an item that I don't accept returns on my store, but I accept returns when they force me to. And this person was saying like the jacket smelled, and eBay was like, well, there's no way to prove it doesn't. If you accepted free returns, we could back you. So it goes back to what you said, that you get more support if you accept free returns, but I don't want to. And I probably would sell more if I did. Shout out, Matt. I don't accept returns ever either. I've considered starting, though, on certain items. I do obviously get the return. See, like I don't want to be someone's dressing room. I have no desire to get something back that someone had on their body, even though what we buy is used anyway. But, you know, that's not to say in the future I won't change that, because I want to scale and I want to grow. Let's see. If you offer free returns, there's a higher chance of negative feedback being removed. You're absolutely right, Roman. Like, that's true.
It is one of the reasons I do it. And the other reason that I do offer free returns is because if you have no returns policy on your eBay store and then eBay sides with the buyer, you can't discount the item at all. Like, you have to give them the full amount in full. And for me, if, for example, the CD player is a perfect example, it's a $200 item. If the buyer sends it back and that belt is truly broken and it wasn't from shipping damage, which is not what he's claiming, and it's in any different condition than how I shipped it to him, I can withhold up to 50% of that item back into my pocket. So
okay.
Now,
but only 50%. That's crazy. Like, you should not have to even do the return if it's in a different condition.
Right. But if you offer no returns at all, you can't get any of those funds back. So in my opinion, 50% is better than none, because usually the returns that I get are situations like that. It's, you know, the don't fits. When someone says doesn't fit, like, you just take the return and you relist it and you move on. You know, those shoes will eventually sell again if they sold, you know, before. But that CD player is a perfect example. If that thing looks any different than how I shipped it, or it's not properly packaged, or, you know, there's a different error code on the screen when I plug it back in than what he was messaging me, I'm withholding up to 50%. And if he leaves me negative feedback because of that, eBay will remove it in my favor, because I'm allowed to withhold 50%. So
see, when I get to be a big girl and I'm a reseller like you guys, I'm going to remember this knowledge and this information.
I feel like it's worth it. And eBay does supposedly push your items a little more when you offer free returns, because it's a benefit to the buyer. They're more likely to buy from a seller who offers free returns if it's something that could potentially, you know, have problems. But I mean, to each his own. Some people message me and say, I would never offer free returns on eBay in a lifetime. I have never accepted a return, and I have over 10,000 sales on eBay, and I've never accepted a return, and I've never had a problem. I'm like, well, it works for you. You've got the Midas touch then, because people love to return stuff on my store.
I know you can't always, you'll never please everybody. Like Paul says, you have 30 days to return something on eBay, which is crazy to me. I don't know why they do that, because it gives you plenty of time to enjoy the item. I could have wore this shirt. I bought this on eBay, and I could have wore this 7 times before 30 days is up and returned it, or wore it to my one special event or whatever. But, you know, like, you have a point, though. Not everybody's business model looks the same, and what works for one person will not work for another. And that's why you can't just jump on YouTube and see one reseller's business model and say, I'm going to copy exactly this, and I'm going to make exactly what they make every month. And like, you don't know their cost of goods. You don't know their shipping costs, which is also in their 90-day total. You know, like, there's so many hidden factors. Like, stop comparing yourself. And let me just tell you, my cost of living is astronomically low. So if anyone compares themselves to me, like you two, yes, like, it's not about how much you make. For me, it's about how much I spend. And we keep our living costs so low that, like, yesterday was my birthday. We took off work and just enjoyed the day together. You know what I mean?
You spend more money, like, on running shoes than you do, you know.
My most expensive thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we live a pretty frugal life ourselves, and we've got 2 kids, and our boys are great, and like our thing is, we have Disney passes, and SeaWorld passes. And so we go to Disney a lot because we can, take a couple hours after school, go ride a couple rides.
Are you guys at Disney today?
My wife took the kids to Disney today.
I saw that and I was like, oh man, like, did I mess up his day at Disney asking you to come over here?
I wasn't able to go because of they were going. My wife. Well, I had a youth thing, but my wife's sister has Disney passes too, so she'll go with her sister and then take the kids. And there was like a new Ratatouille ride that came out, and they went on that Sunday. So yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Drew said your belt is your most expensive thing.
Okay, I told you I collect Gucci, and my husband was so terrified of getting me a fake Gucci belt for Christmas. Like, I don't know, it was like 3 years ago or something. I'm gonna have to be buried in this belt because he was so terrified. He had a bad experience and bought a fake Coach wallet on eBay once, which they gave us an immediate return because they sent it to the authenticator here. And I told him it was fake, and we got our money back. But he was afraid that the same thing was gonna happen with the belt, and he went straight to Gucci and bought my belt. So I have to be buried in this now to make up for it, because if you go straight to Gucci, it's a little pricey.
So I'll give an example of what Philly Picker just said there. Sold a video game to a buyer, then he returned it on day 29. His reason was he got it at a better price. So I sold a pair of Brooks running shoes, and this goes back to every platform, right? I sold a pair of Brooks running shoes on Mercari for $100, not Brooks, I'm sorry, Hoka Bondi 7s, like brand new, for $100. And this is why I always try to ship next day. This was on a weekend, and then this was on a Saturday, the buyer purchased them. And on Sunday, the buyer sent me a message and said, can she cancel them? And I said, no, I already shipped them. That's why you ship on Saturdays, people. This is why you ship on Saturdays. She asked if she could cancel it because she found them at a cheaper price. And I said, I'm sorry, I already shipped them. Once you get them, try them on, make sure you're happy with the condition. Maybe you'll like them more than you think. And we can go from there. But I will not accept the return right now. And then on Mercari, a buyer has 3 days to rate you, or Mercari will automatically rate you. Well, 3 days went by. She didn't say anything. She didn't rate me. So I don't even know if she opened the package. But Mercari closed it out. I get paid, and nice. the buyer can't return it at that point. So
see, that's what happens a lot. I feel like when a buyer wants to return, I don't mean to say that all buyers are lazy, but they kind of get lazy with their follow through. So sometimes you can get out of a return just because the buyer doesn't do their due diligence, what they're supposed to do. Like, I have an item right now that I need to return, and I think I have until October 1st. So I better get on it and get this thing in the mail. If I don't, then I'm that lazy buyer that didn't do it. Roman says, in my opinion, if a seller doesn't offer returns, it makes the buyers lie more, like selecting an item not as described in order to return it. But with free returns, buyers don't do it as much. That's a good point, because if someone wanted to return something in my store, they would have to lie about it. Joey's in the chat. He said, did someone say Gucci? That's me for sure. He said hi to me, but not to you. That's rude.
Whatever. Joey is celebrating Destiny's birthday, I think, with Destiny's mom, even though her birthday was, I think, last weekend or something.
It was a couple days ago or whatever. I was like, oh, she and I have a very similar birthday. Joey, I'm just going to ask you to ask Destiny to please start showing up in your videos more, because we really like her and want to see her more. We want to see more of Destiny, and we want to see more of Haley over on Josh's channel. So if we can encourage those girls to get in the videos a little bit more.
Well, Haley's been in most of Josh's recent videos, like, fully.
And I just want her to take over, take the camera away from Josh.
Oh yeah. I don't think that's gonna happen. But
no, probably not. But she has such a sweet personality. I like her so much. So let me tell you my bad thing over on eBay, and I won't take too long on it, but it's something worth mentioning because I learned something from Daily Refinement recently concerning this. So a shout out in the chat. Give me like a hands up or something if you have seen an astronomical increase in canceled orders lately. And by canceled orders, I just mean the buyer makes an offer, you accept the offer, and then they don't follow through. So a non-paying buyer. How many of you guys are seeing such an increase? I don't know if it's because I have increased the volume of my listings lately, but I have seen such an increase in buyers just not paying. And okay, what I learned from Daily Refinement is that when the buyer does not pay, and we all know eBay now automatically will like delete that, make them a non-paying buyer within 5 days. When that happens, it costs you 30 cents every time, which doesn't seem like much. I don't know. Are you shaking your head because you disagree with this or because you think it's stupid? Because I think it's stupid.
I think it's stupid.
Because if you get 3 unpaid buyers in a week, this costing you $52 a year for absolutely nothing. Because eBay words it that they have marked the buyer as unpaid, and they relisted your item if you wanted it relisted, returned your charity, donation if you wanted that. And then it says something to the effect of they have credited the variable portion of your listing fees, which does not include this 30 cents processing fee. And so it's just 30 cents. And maybe if you have 7 items listed on eBay, it's not a big deal. I have 1,400 items listed on eBay. And when I have 7 buyers a week just not paying for orders, it's costing me, like I say, over $2 a week. That's $104 a year. That's crazy to me that eBay is even able to have 30 cents off of something that I have no control over that. And so here's what I'm encouraging folks in the chat and resellers to do is the same thing I do. I have my store set up to where if you are an unpaid item buyer, like if you have unpaid for, I think there's an option for 3 items or 5 items in the past 12 months, you cannot buy from my store. And I have it set up that way. And I've had people message me, and like one lady messaged me once and she said, I want to buy this XYZ item from your store, but for some reason I can't. I think it's because I bought too much. And I said, no, ma'am, it's because you promised to buy too much and wasted the seller's time, and you can't buy from my store either. Like, is that petty of me?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think I think it's gets me.
What do you think about this 30 cents fee, Drew? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, it grinds my gears so much because it's just like, you know what grinds my gears?
Peter Griffin over here.
I think it's just so retarded that you would think that a platform that big that does so much business and so much volume wouldn't be so unfavorable to the people that are actually. This goes back to the conversation of, well, if there wasn't any buyers on eBay, the sellers wouldn't make any money. But realistically, if there wasn't any sellers, the buyers would have nothing to buy off of the platform. So why? Yeah, thanks, Joey. Why eBay is even doing this, especially at 30 cents, is just beyond me. I mean, again, you look at Poshmark, for example. When you get a return on Poshmark pays the shipping.
Yes, sir. They are like so courteous to their seller.
Even the Canada Goose jacket that was not authentic, Poshmark still covered the shipping to send it back. Yeah, I still didn't get charged for that, which I figured, well, something that's not authentic, surely Poshmark will charge me the shipping for this. Nope, they refunded the buyer the original shipping charge, and then they covered the shipping to send it back to me. I was like, well, if it's fake, just throw it in the trash. Like, yeah,
I don't want it. What am I going to do with it?
They send it back to me. So, again, I mean, it's just crazy.
And she's wrong here, because I was thinking the same thing, and Daily Refinement described it. And no, Christy, it does not matter if it was a free. That is not the insertion fee that they're charging you. It's like a processing fee. And what they're saying is we still processed our part. We still did our thing and have to pay our employee or whatever. Exactly. Yeah. It's like, it's total bull. It really is. They're like a bank finding a way to still get you. Yeah, it's crazy. So you guys definitely go into your settings, and the only way I can think to circumvent that would be to block buyers that are like repeat non-paying buyers. Like, can you think of a better way to get around that?
Just increase your prayer life and ask God to not bring non-payment buyers into your eBay store.
In the morning, read the word and then pray, God, please let all my buyers pay today. Yeah. I had a great scripture even in my office where we were supposed to record this that said, seek ye first the kingdom of God. That's true, guys. Seek the kingdom first, and then all the non-paying buyers will be ridded from your life. eBay just needs more money all the time. I guess that's why people call them eBay. They still pay my bills. I'm going to roll my eyes the whole time, and I will still go buy stuff and list it on there and make them money too. And yeah, it's, she said, I'll be texting.
I think where I get the most non-paying buyers, which grinds my gears the most, is it's always the lowest priced items. It's always like you sold a pair of shorts, like running shorts, for $12, and you accepted an offer. You had them listed, let's say, for 18, and someone offered you 12, and you're like, sure, get them out of here. And then they don't pay. And then on a $12 item, like,
yes,
it's like, you got to be kidding me, bro. Just pay for your shorts.
I do go in there though, and tell me if you do the same. I go in there every day after that 2 days. I wait the 2 days, but every day after that, I say, I send like the pre-populated message from eBay that's like, I'm ready to ship your order. Unfortunately, I can't until you've paid for it. I send it every day on day 2, 3, 4, and 5 because I want to be like, do you want this or not? And recently I had a guy come back and he's like, oh, I wasn't able to follow through with my commitment that you accepted my offer. Can I still buy it? And I'm like, yeah, but it's 30 cents more now.
I've seen a couple of different scenarios with this situation. Number one is someone sends you an offer and you accept it, and they don't get the notification because they don't have eBay notifications turned on.
Right.
So they didn't even realize it, which in that situation, it's like, okay, this person is not a big eBayer. So, they just didn't get the notification. They didn't even check. The second one is the person who buys it, which I found people who are watching your items because they either have the same item listed or they want to see what it's going to sell for. Mm-hmm. They buy your item and don't pay for it, so their item can sell instead.
Yes, I fully think that that's a legitimate.
It's 100% happening because I sold a pair of Jordans recently where that happened, and there's only one other person listed with the same pair, and mine were listed for like $20 less, and you can't prove that it's the same person, mm-hmm. but I theoretically believe that it's that.
And you're stuck there for 5 days while theirs sells.
Yep.
And you have to wait. I mean, you can, and I have before, if it's too expensive of an item, canceled it myself. Yep. And I'll just check buyer requested to cancel. And I don't know, what's eBay going to do about it if I'm wrong? Drew said, eat me shorts. So he turned Bart Simpson Irish or a pirate. Just kidding.
So there are multiple factors in that. Like, I guess it's kind of like my eBay conspiracy theory is that there's certain things that can happen like that where people just didn't realize it, or people buy something and then they say, I don't get paid till the 27th. Can you hold this for me? No, I'm not a pawn shop. I'm not a rental. I'm not a rental business. I'm not, your mommy and daddy.
I try to be as nice as I can about that kind of stuff. I did have a guy that needed some work boots, and he said, I can't pay for these it was almost a month later. And he told me where he was going to be working. And he talked to me about he told me all kinds of personal information he did not need to tell me. And I don't know, that's where I lean on discernment. And I'm like, God, tell me if this person's taking advantage of me. And I removed the listing and I said, you come back to me on the 28th. I'm going to sell you these boots at this price. And he came back on the 23rd and was like, my friend loaned me the money. And I mailed this guy these boots. And he said, you changed my life. And I was like, that's the best eBay message. But
that's happened to me one time where a guy bought an item from me, and it was I don't even know what it was. It was a pair of shoes, I think, actually, like you said, a pair of work boots.
Yes.
And I messaged him and I'm like, hey, can you please let me know when you're going to pay for this? I'm ready to ship them out. And it was a $55 pair of boots, a Carhartt boots. And no response for 5 days. And I was going to cancel and relist. And I just kind of was like, let me just see if I can get a response out of this guy. And 10 days later, he said, I wound up in the hospital. I had a heart attack. And, he still wanted the boots, but he had to get up on his feet and stuff. And I ended up holding them for him, and then he ended up paying for them. But I mean, that's sometimes rare, such a rare thing to happen, but it does happen. It's another one of those things that can happen is, but when people make you an offer, you accept it. And then after you accept it, they say, I got to pay rent and get groceries. And then when I get paid next week, I'll for sure buy this. Can you hold it?
It's I got to pay rent and get groceries too.
Yeah. No, I won't hold it.
Have you heard what Adam's talking about here? He says, I've been told that if you send a counter offer 1 penny less and they accept, they have to pay immediately. I haven't heard that. Have you heard that?
I've never heard it, but I do it all the time when I get lowball offers. Like, I have a theory, which I don't, for those of you guys who follow me, one of my biggest things that I promote is never decline an offer, no matter how low it is. You always counter offer.
Yes.
Because you will get people who are just looking for a deal. And it's another part of the good, the bad, and the ugly of eBay. People hate lowball offers, and people say that there's certain platforms that are their worst for lowball offers. eBay is my worst for lowball offers, and Poshmark is the best for full price sales. But on eBay, I always counter offer, and you just can't let it get to your head. If you counter offer and someone declines your counter offer, they really weren't the right buyer for your item anyway, or your item's just overpriced. I mean, it's really one of the two. So usually people that are resellers price their items either competitive to the market or they know their numbers. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was trying to read what this said. Yeah.
Read about this moose.
What's up, Anfisa?
I was going to hurt to hire a moose. Yeah. Or a monkey.
99% of questions that people ask, though, never results in a sale for me either. When someone says, hey, can you measure the zipper length? Can you measure the inseam? Can you tell me, someone asked me on a shirt that I had listed, hi, is the color white, beige, or silver? I can't tell in the pictures. And then I said white, and they're like, oh, sorry, I'm looking for beige. Like, what? So
I'm with you most questions, and I feel like a rotten seller when I don't respond. But just this past week, I had someone blowing me up on the same question because I ignored it the first time because I'm that seller that's like, you're not going to buy it. And it was $149 shirt, like $240 new with tags polo. And so I'm listed at like 149, and this guy's wanting to know the length of it. And I'm like, I can't believe I don't have the length in the see, I need the reseller ruler. And so I ignored it. I ignored it the second time. And then he says, hello. And I said, I'm so sorry. Let me get back to you. Because I'm like, this guy clearly does want this shirt. Get back to him. Give him every measurement that he wants. And then he ghosted me. And I was like, you're the exact reason why no one responds. At least say, oh, that's not going to work or something.
I get ghosted on Depop the worst, though. Like, I could write a book on how many times I've gotten ghosted. I got ghosted 3 times today on Depop for items where I had this vintage hat listed for $300. Some guy offered me $200 like 3 weeks ago. I countered at $225 and he ghosted me. And then he came back today, and said, will you take $200 again? And I said, sure, let me know and I'll change the price. And he ghosted me. And I'm like, what's the point of asking me then?
It bothers me so much. Paul said that he responds if the item's selling for $50 or more. So you're a better reseller than me. And dealing with Dalton says I rarely respond. That's me. Like, I get so annoyed because as a new reseller, you're like, oh my gosh, someone has a question. Let me run downstairs and get exactly what they want. And some are bizarre measurements or really bizarre questions. And then when they don't even buy the item, it's crazy.
It's a wild ride being a reseller, and it's so funny. What I love about the reselling community is how every reseller hates something different about each platform. Like,
oh, for sure.
If I had to like 1 through 5 label the 5 platforms that I sell on as overall best, like in every category, if you were doing like how would you describe it? Like an NBA player, like they have like in a sports game, you look at like a LeBron James or something and it's like 97 offense, 93 defense.
Yes.
If you had to average all that out, he's like an average of a 96 or whatever. Mm-hmm. So if you do that for all the reselling platforms, eBay's still number 1 for me, even with all the bad stuff. And then Poshmark, and then Facebook Marketplace, and then Mercari, and then Depop. But
that reminds me of like Mortal Kombat when you say that. We should make like a video game screen of like strength, such and such, shipping 47, like, seller support 4.
Yes, 100%. I wish I had the editing skills to make something like that. So Dalton, get on it because he'll do it. But,
that would be and just include that Mortal Kombat phrase, finish him somewhere in there.
I definitely think that the only reason for me that eBay tops Poshmark is because I make more money on eBay. That's the only reason. But Poshmark is a very close second for me because Poshmark is literally like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a dream reselling platform for me. It's just it's just so perfect in all its ways
because it's easy and because there's no returns.
I mean, I get more full price sales on Poshmark than I do on any other platform. You really don't have to worry about communicating with buyers because you can't just like message the seller on Poshmark. You have to go into an item and then leave a comment. And when a buyer leaves a review on Poshmark, whether it's good or bad, if a buyer leaves you a 1-star review, it doesn't affect your account at all. Nobody sees it. Nobody knows about it except you. Poshmark seller support is there.
I feel like Poshmark should pay you to make a video at this point.
I mean, I'm a Posh boss and I love it.
You are, like, on your picture, you have like, I guess maybe it was like your real estate photo or something because you have like your suit on, and I'm like, yeah. He looks like I remembered, I think it was Daily Refinement, but I'm sorry if I have this incorrect, but Daily Refinement used a picture of a woman on his Poshmark because he said that people were more likely to buy the women's clothes thinking that they were buying it from a woman. And I was like, oh, that's so true. And I thought about that when I watched your video today about the reseller ruler. I was like, does it say reseller ruler on there? Because I don't know that I want to advertise in every photo like I'm a reseller. Because then people are like, they downgrade your item because, well, you paid $4 for it at Goodwill, or you think?
I've never had a problem with it. Mine actually broke because my kids were playing with it like a ninja sword or something. But I like it a lot. I just think that it depends on what your style is with selling clothing. But to Dalton's point here on the bottom, and to answer that question right there was what I was about to say. Super Posher is amazing. I mean, to people that hate sharing on Poshmark, that not necessarily Christy, but the people that use having to share on Poshmark as an excuse to not sell on Poshmark clearly haven't spent any time understanding the platform at all, because you can use Super Posher, you can use VAs, you can use all sorts of stuff.
They have bulk sharing now.
And they have bulk sharing, and the Super Posher, like, I'll pull it up right now on my phone. I don't even remember what I pay. I think it's like $30 a month or less. And
so one sale, two sales. We'll say 2 bread and butter sales.
Yeah. And it shows me right here, like every day, how many items are being shared. My closet today, I've had 4,600 shares out of my closet today. They've followed 1,492 new people for me. They've sent out 54 offers to likers for me today. So I have it set up that anytime I get a new liker on an item, my Super Posher will send out a 10% off discount right away.
And you think you're paying $30 a month for this?
It's something like that. Dalton knows the exact number. He's the one that got me hooked on it, but it's real cheap. And it's well worth it. I mean, again, even when I wasn't using Super Posher and I was using the VA on Instagram, I can't remember what they're called. It's like a husband and wife team that supposedly have, less fortunate moms or something, like sitting in rooms. I think she was lying about it, but when, she was supposedly helping like military moms make extra income, it's $40. And I was paying $109 a month or $105 a month for that VA, and it was still worth it. And then to find Super Posher, and it's a third of the price,
$40.
It's literally so worth it. Dalton said they're lying. Those people that say they have these businesses, because even that Poshmark share,
they're pulling at our heartstrings. They're not really a room full of military moms.
No, those people, even at $105 a month, that's $3 a day. How is the lady that owns the company making any money if she's paying moms $10 an hour to sit in front of computers and share?
Right. Those numbers.
That means they have to share 4 people's closets every hour to make $12 an hour if we're paying $3 a day. So 4 resellers, each individual mom has to share 4 resellers' closets just for the company to be able to pay $10 an hour for them to make 2. Like, the math doesn't add up. So don't get me started on that tangent.
Lois, you can absolutely research solds on Posh. I know you directed this at Drew, but I sell a little bit on Poshmark. Okay. So search for the item on Poshmark as you normally would, but make sure that you're searching in all markets, because like sometimes you might search it and you might be searching for like Rothy's and you're in the men's market. And then there's a filter, and scroll down to the very, very bottom and it'll say availability. So there's 3 options. There's available, not available, and sold. Is that right? I think there's just 3. Yep. And so click on sold and it's going to show you the items that have sold. And, you know, truth be told, when I shop on Poshmark, I'm not searching by last shared. I'm searching by like lowest price or something. What about you?
I mean, I don't do a lot of shopping on Poshmark personally, but I haven't, it normally when you're selling certain products, like if you're selling Vapor Max or Air Max 95s or something like that, people are filtering by certain things. Like they're searching for a specific color, a specific size. So, I mean, the recents on the shares do help you if someone just types in Air Max 95.
Right.
You know, but if they're typing in red, size 13, it doesn't matter because yours won't come up in their filters. But let me say this before I forget. I think one of the best things about Poshmark compared to eBay is when you accept an item on an offer and you go look at solds, Poshmark shows you what the item actually sold for.
Right.
Unlike eBay, it just has a slash through it. It says best offer accepted. And you don't know unless you message that seller and say, hey, you sold a pair of Alden shoes for $600 on a best offer accepted. Was that 500 or 50?
And they always think you're so creepy when you're like, did these dishes really sell for $600?
It's actually easier to pull comps on Poshmark than it is on eBay because of that reason. Yeah. When you're searching, like, so this palette that I got, I'll go into that later. The best pair of shoes I got was a pair of Alden men's dress shoes. They're like $600 shoes brand new.
Wow.
When you look at the comps, 90% of the comps were best offer accepteds. So you don't know what they sold for. Yeah. But then you go on Poshmark and you can clearly see that they're selling for $200 to $250.
Yeah. And then their comps are going to go back longer than 90 days also. And on eBay, they're only 90 days. So Jennifer dropped a link. If you guys aren't subscribed with notifications onto the Triple Thrift podcast, Drew, Joey, and Josh do an awesome podcast over there. And it's something I hear a lot of people say, like, I like reseller videos, but, you know, I have to watch you, yard seller, have to watch you at the thrift. Like, especially y'all's recent ones are like a black screen with the logo on there. No, like I turn it on and I'm doing my makeup, and then I turn it on and I'm like pulling orders and stuff like this. And it's 3 great resellers that are all giving out really good information. So like definitely subscribe and turn on notifications on that, because I enjoy that show. I think you guys do a really good job. I would find it hard. Like I feel like I would rob a lot of time if I were any one person on that show.
I do. Well, I feel like that's me because I'm the talker. Like I have to actually like just choose to stop talking so I can let Joey talk sometimes, because he loves to listen and he's a really good listener. And I love talking about this. Like I could stay live with you until 4 a.m.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Anfisa. International sales is great. The global shipping program and eBay international standard shipping, both of them are great. But I'm also
been around longer. Like the audience is so much bigger on eBay.
Yeah, the audience is bigger on eBay, but Poshmark also like does a lot of promotion things. Like, you know, you can do a bundle on Poshmark. Like you can scroll through someone's closet and find like 5 or 6 things that you like and bundle them together. On eBay, it's not as simple unless you have that set up. You know, right. So there's so many goods and bads about every platform. So
and it also depends on
reseller and 2 average resellers. Yeah.
He's saying that you're great, and don't tell Josh.
I think I'm the average.
Don't tell Josh and Joey what he said about them.
I'm gonna screenshot this right now. Hold on. Save this for blackmail, because I'm assuming he's calling me one of the average resellers.
No, he's saying that you're the best one.
We'll see. Paul also is one of the biggest proponents of calling me Eeyore. So,
no, I think that you guys complement each other really well, and that's what I was actually saying today. I was like, I try to keep it like infectiously positive over on my channel, and I know you keep it very real. And I know people have have tagged you as that, but I just think you come out as a realist. And I was like, so I just think that this is going to be a lot of like a yin yang thing, and we'll be able to just talk about everything that goes on in real life over on eBay.
I mean, I'm just passionate about everything that I do. I mean, I'm passionate about learning about, and I think that this is where a lot of people misunderstand me. For those people, I mean, I don't care if what they think about me or not in that sense. But where I feel like I'm misunderstood in that sense is I actually like to evaluate everything and understand, because if you are only focused on, yeah, I had 18 sales today, but then, you know, you don't understand like why this is happening, or why your bookkeeping is all messed up, or why you don't know how much you owe on your taxes, or why your thrift stores are so dry and all you're doing is complaining about your thrift stores, like, then you got to get out of your city and you got to start thrifting somewhere else, or you got to start going to flea markets. Like, Harry Tornado is a perfect example of that. He realized how much he was missing out at flea markets, and now every weekend he has a flea market video coming out because his thrift stores really weren't providing super great inventory. So he started, you know, asking around and looking, and I told him, like, dude, my flea markets have been killing it, and he started going and he's doing really well from them. And so
I know I saw you talk about flea markets recently too, and we don't really have, like, there's one about half an hour from here, and like I'm tempted to go check it out. Like,
yeah. So OG and Z said everyone misunderstands me at first. It's just because I'm passionate and I want to know why, because I'm a problem solver. Like, I want to talk about the problem and then I want to create a solution for it.
Yeah, I think that you should definitely, I know you talked recently about doing like a live with your wife. I think you should do a live where you interview people, because like I was so impressed when you interviewed the owner of Hammock, and he jumped on all of a sudden, like really impromptu onto, I think it was with you and Joey, right?
Yep.
And just the way that you interviewed him came from a place of wanting to learn, just like you're talking about, that you just want to learn about stuff. And I was like, you should really consider doing some lives where you interview people, because you're a good interviewer.
Well, thank you. But so to explain that real quick, the fact of the matter is the reason that those people either don't like me or misunderstand me is because they don't care to know about that kind of stuff. And that's a bad thing in my opinion, because when you get to this point in your reselling career, when you're full-time or you have a full shed full of inventory and you're constantly sourcing, you're listing, you're shipping, you're doing all these things, and all you're thinking about or all you're focusing on is like, oh, hey, had great sales today. And then you go on YouTube and, you know, you just want to see like, you know, a garage sale video or something. Like, there's, in my opinion, the reason that garage sale, like, GoPro videos don't do anything for me is because there's no depth to them. Mm-hmm. You're watching people find cool stuff, but past that, there's no depth. It's not
even truly the actual value of it. It's just suspected value.
Right. And so, like, I'm not knocking any channel that does that, because those get the most views.
Exactly why we're making.
Yeah, they're making the most money. But when you're breaking it down as a reseller, and I had this talk on Tommy Bernhardt's channel a while back, and it's just because I'm passionate about it. It's just when you break it down into the actual intricacies of the business, like what we're talking about tonight, the differences between Poshmark and eBay and Mercari and you know, returns and these types of things. A lot of people don't like talking about them because they it's, what's the word? It's like positive and negative reinforcement, almost like in psychology. Like, when someone hears the word return, they automatically think that it's all negative, like, or they automatically like process, you know, return or, you know, this word or that term in reselling as like a bad thing. Like, oh, we don't talk about that. It's kind of like, you know, you don't hear,
conditioned that way. Yeah,
exactly. They're conditioned that way. It's like certain churches are conditioned to not talk about tithing, for example, because it scares people away from the church, you know, or whatever. And like that stuff, I love talking about that kind of stuff. But, you know, people are being conditioned in reselling to, when they hear certain words or terms or phrases, they're like, oh no, we don't talk about that because that's bad.
Yeah.
You know,
only bolos.
Yeah, only share bolos and only talk about big sales. But, you know, that's really not the actual reality of full-time reselling. Mm-hmm. Like, look, I got a freaking stack of receipts right here, you know, sitting on my desk. And I'm not afraid to admit that, you know, I have it like accounted for, but this is all like this month as it comes to the end of the month is coming to a close, like, you know. And so it's just, people don't like talking about the receipts, not necessarily even because it's boring, but because they don't want to look at their receipts and actually see how much they spent versus how much they made. They just want to share their 90-day total and say, well, I did $30K in 90 days. And then you look and you're like, oh, but you spent $60K, like, you know, or whatever. And it's just exactly the same thing about why I really don't share my 90K total without context. If I'm sharing my numbers, I have to provide context. Because
recently, like every time I make an Instagram post, I'm like, would Drew be proud of this? Did I provide context? Is there some type of education in here? Like, package stacks are trash. So let me tell you, let me break it down. And I think people are listening because I see that more and more. So I'm not the only one that's listening to you there. And Carissa said,
don't get me wrong, I love a good package stack picture. I mean, Paul,
it doesn't mean anything.
You know, but
it could be $3 a piece and you spent $5 on it. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. There's so many factors, again, that play into just even those pictures, that if you're trying to actually grow as a brand, let's talk about this for like 10 seconds, if you guys will stick with me. If you're talking about branding yourself in the reseller space now, like Drew Profit Monsters, I want people to know me. I can't just post package pictures, you know, in my Posh Girl outfit with my coffee going like this, you know.
I have a pumpkin spice ready bag, for you, just for that.
You know, holding my IKEA bag like this.
I have that.
Walking into the post office. It doesn't provide any true value other than someone saying, well, I want to be like that person because they must make a lot of sales. But that person could literally be selling, like, this is one of the biggest things I've talked about on the podcast. I would much rather sell 5 $100 items and spend way less time shipping than sell 100 $5 items. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people do that, and you just don't know what the heck people are selling. You know, you don't know if you're branding yourself as just somebody who posts a picture, you know, because you're a pretty face or something like that. And then people just say like, oh, I'm so proud of you. They could be like really struggling behind the camera.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why I have no problem showing my face on Instagram, on YouTube. You know, you see me actually showing my face and stuff because like I'm out here in the trenches, man. Like I'm doing it, and I want people to know, you know, it's tough, but it's rewarding. Like I can go to Disney with my family and not feel bad because I'm making sales as I'm walking around Disney.
100%.
You know, because I worked hard the day before. You know, and man, I could talk about this for hours. So I need.
But you have such a good point about branding, and I was actually discussing that with my husband earlier today. And dealing with Dalton says the same thing. Like you have me questioning what my brand is, and like as a reseller who, like, not all resellers are on YouTube, and not all should be, and I don't feel like some of the best resellers do not have a YouTube, but. If you are a reseller and you're also have this like social media presence, even more so you need to brand yourself. Like when people send me authentication requests, like, okay, let that be my brand. Like, let me go be your go-to girl for Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Christian Louboutins. And like, because that's what I'm passionate about. I could research and try to be your go-to girl for VCRs, but who cares? Like, I would be so bored every time that you send me a VCR and ask me about it. I don't want to be that girl. So like, let your brand be something that you're truly passionate about. For me, that's vintage and that's designer stuff. And it's just because I really like the quality and I love, love, love fashion because
and you do it for free for a little bit so that you can build up a portfolio, just like in any business. I mean, if you're a graphic designer, you're not going to get paid either a lot of money or no money for your first few clients because you need people to know what the quality of your business is. It's the same reason that I personally haven't put out any merch yet, because I'm still trying to brand myself as someone that adds value to other people's businesses. I'm not just trying to make money off the reselling community saying like, go buy my merch that says, you know, Profit Monsters, let's go, you know, or whatever. You know, like I want to brand myself as someone that is actually in the reselling community. I'm actually reselling. I'm doing these things, and I've added value to your life or to your business in some way, shape, or form. And so, you know, that's really my goal, which is why, like, with the Triple Thrift podcast, like, I love talking in it, and why I don't put out a whole lot of YouTube content, because it would be this kind of stuff is what I'm most passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of goes into a little bit of like motivational speaking, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you know, but I'm so, I don't want to say it like in the hip like trends right now when people say like this person's just built different, but I really think like I'm built different in the way that I think about everything. Like it's just everything's not so simple to me. Like everybody tells me I overcomplicate things, I overthink things, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm overthinking it. I feel like I'm actually trying to dig deep into this, reasoning for understanding why this is happening. Like if my sales are slow, I'm talking about it because I want to know why my sales are slow. Not because
I don't want to blame it on things outside of my control. I don't want to blame summer slowdown. I can't do a daggum thing about that.
I want never to use that as an excuse.
Yeah, I'm like, I had my best quarter yet this past quarter ever in the history of reselling, and that was during summer slowdown. And you know why? Because I got off my lazy butt and I listed 50 things a day for 3 weeks, and I have been grinding it out and working so hard. That's why. And so like I want to blame things that I can control. My sales are slow because I was slow this week.
Because it's my responsibility. Exactly. And also I just want to say this real quick because I overthink everything. I have no problem with any reseller who puts out merch. I have nothing against them.
I have some merch coming out soon.
I have nothing against them. I have the Commonwealth Flipper guy right here, and I've got a Flip the World. I've got a Flip the World IKEA bag. I've got a Harry Tornado shirt. I've got a Joey shirt. Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, I have nothing against those things, and I'm all about supporting the reseller community. I mean, for gosh sakes, Joey and I literally buy something from someone's eBay store every Monday.
I try to win, but
and I'll tell you what, most of the time, here's just me being honest. Most of the time, I don't want to, and I don't need anything out of your eBay store. But me and Joey are trying to brand ourselves in that way as we're here for the people. Like we're here for the community. I bought a shirt from someone last week for my wife, you know, a t-shirt. She didn't need another like exercise t-shirt, but I'm trying to put myself out there. First of all, because I want to give more than I take from the reselling community. And so I'm just trying to put myself out there like as someone that's here for the community. But yeah, it's true. But you know, not so much. Like I'm like, you know, I'm trying to get like Drew, your husband, but I'm just like, I daydream about your husband's beard, man.
It's a pretty massive. It used to be like all the way down to his belt, and he has a YouTube video where he cut it in half. And in the YouTube video, I said, "When are you going to cut that thing?" And he said, "Right now," and pulls it, and it's like in half because he had like the clippings of it. I'll send it to you on Instagram.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty funny. Like when I was 9 months pregnant, we would walk through Walmart and nobody would comment on this massive like 44-inch belly that I had. Like, when's your baby due or anything? They would all say, "How long have you been growing that beard?" I'm like, could I get
Drew, that beard. If I had to have an excuse for something that took away from my time, it's looking at your Instagram for pictures of Drew's beard.
I'll have to encourage him to pop in every once in a while. We've been talking about doing a second YouTube channel of me and him, like our running and running reviews and stuff of like products and reviews of races and things like that.
I was really heavily into like watching like the beard competitions and stuff for a while, like where they go compete for
like cages and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I've never seen. Well, I just have to say that Drew's beard is like in the top 3 most glorious beards I've ever seen.
Don't tell him that. I have to live with him. We have narrow doorways at our house, and his head has to fit through. So don't say stuff like that. He's watching.
Drew, if you're watching, I'm mad jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous of anybody else's YouTube views. I'm more jealous of your beard.
Someone walked up to him at my son's cross country the other day and they said, "It's glistening. It's beautiful," because like he uses beard oils and stuff. Yeah. All right. So we're to the part in the show then we're like, we talked about good stuff. We talked about bad stuff. And I hope you guys are learning from these things. And we're going to talk about the ugly stuff that happened over on eBay this week. And sometimes it's ugly. Like sometimes you have to say it's worth the $20 to just walk away. It's worth, like, there are certain items that it's not even worth me asking you to ship it back to me, because what, it's already ate me up one time shipping and it's going to eat me up again. And you know what? Like, it's worth my peace and sanity to just walk away. But the ugly things to me are the ones that, like, I totally screwed up. I could not fix this situation. It resulted in $0 or I lost money. So my ugly this week is I sell a lot of like flip phones. I'll buy flip phones for $1, $2, or like an old Nokia bar phone, or like old phones that you would probably, yes, walk right past, 20, 30 bucks all day long. I mean, you have one there in the box, you'll probably get closer, higher than that. But like, I sell them without a charger, 20 bucks. So I'm turning $1 into 20. It's a no brainer. I'm gonna buy them up every time. Well, I sold this one this week. And when I bought it from the Teen Challenge thrift store, to be fair, he said someone brought that back because they said the button didn't work, but it totally works. I turned it on, screen worked, button worked. A guy must have not known what he was talking about. Sell it for $20. The buyer just sent me a return request to my store that does not accept returns and said the digitizer is messed up. The screen works, but half the screen you can't touch. So that's what the guy that brought it back was talking about. This is $1 or an item that I paid like $1, $2 maybe for. It was HTC touchscreen phone, nice little phone, but it sold it for $19.99, free shipping. It's been listed for months in my store, whatever, $19.99 out the door. Cost me $4 to ship it first class. Doesn't work now. So am I going to pay $2 for the phone, another $4 for shipping there, another $4 for shipping back? Like, for this item that's only going to sell for $20. No, at the end of the day, this guy's going to keep the phone. I'm going to have a return now. And, I'm out money that I'll never see back, because worst case scenario, I could get the phone back and I'm going to sell it for less than $20 because it doesn't work. So long story short, I probably should have more thoroughly checked the item, but I don't a lot of the times with really low end electronics. And people will say, well, how do you test XYZ? I don't. If they message me and say it doesn't work, then I'm going to give them their money back. I mean, is that really amateur and naive of me to just take them at their value when it's a $19 item? It's probably not even worth me testing.
I mean, this goes into a whole nother conversation of the definition of opportunity costs when you run a reselling business. Is it worth the hassle, the stress, the time? Or do you just tell the person like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. It was an honest mistake. Just go ahead and throw away the item, and especially because this person isn't scamming you, because it was the same return reason that the person brought it back to the thrift store for.
Yes.
So you just say like, listen, I'm really sorry, whatever, and you move on. Like, when I first started reselling, I was fighting every return. I was arguing with buyers. I was calling eBay every day. And I started talking to other resellers, and then I started realizing like the opportunity cost of fighting this stuff over like $10 here, $12 there, or $20 or even $50 sometimes isn't worth just the mental space in my head.
Yes, amen. Because you are self-employed and doing this for less stress than real estate, yes, less stress than owning a scooter shop. And like, what are you going to do for the sake of $20 minus eBay fees? So for the sake of $12, you're going to give yourself a headache and think about this thing for 3 days? No, like, write it off, give them their money back, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's usually not worth it for me at this point in my reselling career. But I'll tell you, the first year of my business, like, you'd see me making videos and I'm like, this return is so annoying, and now I'm just like, well, I got another return today. Like, it's just, life goes on now at this point. And, if that kind of can tail into my uglies there, I got 2 returns on shoes today that say don't fit. And now at this point, it's not really worth the stress in my head to try to fight it or anything. You just take the return back when you get them. You relist the shoes. You take the old listing. You sell similar. You keep the photos, and you're done. You put it back in your inventory. But the big ugly was what happened with these pallets. So, I I can share a little bit about that if you want.
Yes, tell them, because especially newer resellers, or when you get to the point where you're like, how do I scale my business? People are always thinking pallets. And so, we've seen a lot of stuff about how like health and beauty aid, like the HBA pallets don't turn out so good. And like the, Wholesale Ninja doesn't turn out so good. So who did you order your pallets from, and what was it that you ordered?
So I actually don't know who I got them from. To be honest, it was a deal that I was being kind of like a guinea pig for with Hammock, the cross-listing app that we use. They had a wholesaler that was supposedly providing quality wholesale shoes for resellers, and Hammock was going to be like the middleman. They were going to make a little money on top, and they were going to make these big deals. Long story short, I was originally supposed to pay for the pallets and shipping. Then they changed it to, we'll pay for the pallets, you just pay for the shipping. And then when you sell the shoes, we'll keep a spreadsheet and you pay us an interest, like almost on a loan. We'll give you the shoes for free. And then when you find out how many are there, then you pay us every month on a loan with interest on how much you sold. And then they said, we're just going to send it to you and cover the shipping. And so I had no risk having it sent to my house, but I would have to pay a little bit of a higher percentage, which I'm like, if the product's good, it's worth it to me to not have to go source. I mean, it was 2,000 pounds of shoes.
Holy cow.
So, I mean, we're talking, Dalton would have to help me out.
At least 1,000 pairs of shoes. If you're,
it had to be close to 800 to 1,000 pairs of shoes, that we went through. And when I got the pallets, to say that it was disappointing is an understatement. We pulled out about 66 pairs of shoes that were worth selling. And
out of 800 to 1,000 pair.
Yeah, about 66 pairs of mid-tier and high-tier shoes, which is like something I would consider mid-tier. We considered like anything we could sell from $25 to $40. High-tier was 40 and up. And then we had a low-tier section that was like, we would just sell these if we had to make our money back. So luckily, because it was a test pallet with this wholesaler, there wasn't a lot of risk for me. For Hammock, they're going to lose some money on the deal, but they were willing to take that risk apparently. And so, I made a video about it. It's a little lackluster because you're going through the pallet and you're like hoping for all these good shoes, and you're like Old Navy, Soggy, this brand, flip-flops, Target brand, Walmart brands. There's some stuff in there like American Eagle flats, but you're talking like $12, $15 flats, Toms,
not even really bread and butter.
Yeah, Toms. Like, I'm not going to sell stuff. Dirty Vans, old Saucony running shoes, like old Nike trainer, like Pegasus 19s, and they're on the 37, like just stuff that's not worth reselling, especially if you have to clean it. And so, so the pallet that was this week. That was my ugly, is I had spent a time, and now I have these sitting in my driveway that I have to get rid of. And the ultimatum for them was like, list the 66 pairs of shoes that are sellable on Hammock. We'll comp the listing. So they're gonna, I have to pay Hammock to list for me when I upload the pictures. They're gonna pay for those listings. And then they said, just pick a buy cost that you feel is fair, and you can sell those shoes and still make some money. And then I have to sell these other garbage shoes, if you would call it that. And they told me I can just keep the money for selling them if I can dump them on Facebook Marketplace for, $100 or $200.
And you still have to put in all that work.
Yeah. So, but it's a good experience because I was hoping it was going to be good. But it's the truth of the matter is, if there were wholesalers out there, there would already be people doing it. And if there were people doing it, they wouldn't give out the secrets to everybody. And so that's why, to me, I knew I didn't have a lot of expectation going into it, because I knew like Hammock isn't just this magical company that has this magical wholesale source that nobody knows about and now is going to start providing shoes to the entire reselling community,
right,
for just a small interest charge or something. Like, you look at couples like Renzi, who I mentioned earlier, they're full-time shoe sellers. They told me that they've tried like 13 different wholesalers for shoes.
And they're still out there busting their butts finding them.
They're all complete trash. So, that's what I'm going to do, OG and Z, is I'm selling the whole pallet. I just listed it as all shoes, come get it all for, $200-300 or something like that. And then I'm taking an offer. But the point is that there are too many wholesalers out there that say they provide good inventory, but if it was top tier level inventory at low tier wholesale prices, they'd be selling it themselves. They wouldn't be giving it to you for that price, which is why it's so hard to find and build relationships with wholesalers, because they're very far and few between that are trustworthy, can constantly provide the inventory and provide the quality consistently. It's just very, very, very hard to find. And then again, people who do find it, they're not just going to give you that information for free, because that's their source.
And that's why, like, the best part of our job as resellers, I think everyone in the chat will agree, the best part is the treasure hunt. Even when it's hard and you're not finding a lot of stuff, like, sourcing is so fun. That's how we end up with death piles. And that's honestly the part that cannot be it cannot be outsourced, because of what you're saying. If it could be outsourced, everyone would do it. Like, people would just get pallets and do this in addition to their full-time job and have 2 full-time jobs. And like, you have to know what you're looking for. And if you don't have just this born sense of like what's good quality, then you have to go to YouTube and Instagram and like learn it from other people. OG and Z says just sell the whole thing as a pallet to someone, but maybe risk some negative feedback there. But it's
the only wholesale pallets that I've ever seen physically that are good quality and are worth the money is Zach, who just, recently popped into the chat, Utah and Bought and Gone. Mm-hmm. He gets these book pallets from this distributor. He has a deal with some guy. Yes. And he pays $100 a pallet, and he always have a good night. Thanks for
Carissa.
Zach is always coming out on top on those pallets. I mean, he found like some video game in one of them that's worth, I think, like $1,400 or something like that. It's like sealed, brand new. But the thing about the books is that it's not sexy to a lot of people. Like, it doesn't appeal to the reseller crowd just sitting there scanning books and then boxing them up and sending them to Amazon, which for Zach, he's all about the money. And so it works great for him. But a lot of people
one thing that Zach shared recently that I thought was, again, so real, was him stuffing a giveaway box with all of the books that didn't work out. Because like, people may see those pallets of books that he got and think every one of them is a winner. Every one of them is $20, $30, $100 book. And he stuffed it so much that like the box would not take any more books. And he's like, all of these were nothing. And like, I shipped a book here. It's on my staircase somewhere in one of these shipments going out tomorrow. It was like $4.50 with free shipping. Guys, it cost me $3 to ship the daggum thing. Like, a lot of books are nothing. And so, yeah, it's them going through stuff like that too. And I thought that was so real of him to share that.
Yeah, and it's very heavy. It's a lot of weight. But I mean, Zach is a gym guy. He works out a lot. He's got a truck, so he throws them in the truck. I mean, he just calls it like arm day going to the gym when he has to throw away all the books. It's like an extra workout for him,
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
You guys didn't share a whole lot of ugly that happened over on eBay, and I know we're not the only ones that had ugly stuff happen. But it's something that we learn from our mistakes. And Zach says, yeah, books are profitable, but so much work, and I feel like anything that truly is profitable is a lot of work, because even if it's not like the grunt work, like what he's physically doing labor with those heavy books, like you said, then it's a lot of work, like researching and trying to analyze, knowing like what's real and what's fake, and looking up every single item. There are some items I know when I walk in the thrift store, that's $20, that's $30. My husband and I went to the thrift store yesterday, and he's pulling out some things, and I was like, man, I'm just not excited about that. That's $20, and it's not an item that, like, it's just going to live in a pile. But then other things, you don't know about it. And so you run comps and you learn all these new brands, and other resellers share their bolos. And like Courtney Bolo Buddies was sharing with me earlier, some, I recently sold some of the Longaberger, pottery, and she was showing me the prices that she got for some of the miniatures. And it was like crazy. So if you see miniature tea sets, I'm sure she's going to share that probably on a future Bolo video, so I won't totally spoil that, but I mean, just connecting with people in the community and learning like what they picked up, and the mistakes that they made will hopefully hopefully teach us all something. Well, hey, shout out Tim, you guys.
What's up, Tim? I was ragging on you earlier, so you got to go back and watch the live if you want to hear what I had to say.
Watch the whole thing.
I mean, so did you say that someone said that we weren't talking about enough uglies or something like that? And I missed that. I was just wanting to see, but I mean, I feel like ugly and bad can kind of go together. I haven't had any like resellers, like the baseball glove example. I mean, that's really like the ugliest thing that's happened to me in a while, is like someone messaging me, like threatening me or saying like, you know, I can't believe that you had my negative feedback removed. You're so petty. Like you just have to block them and move on, you know, because they're just so salty about their purchase. But I had free returns. Like the guy could have returned it, no questions asked.
He didn't want to return it.
He didn't want to return it.
Yeah. He wanted it cheaper than what he bought it for. He didn't want to return. He wanted the glove. He liked the glove. Yeah. Like I recently had a Poshmark experience that she took 10 days to ship this purse to me. 10 days. And along with collecting Gucci, I collect vintage Coach. I'm not super excited about the new stuff, but the vintage stuff gets me excited. And this was a vintage Coach bag. She made me an offer on. I accepted her offer right away. And it's like, why did she wait 10 days? And so because no one reads the feedback, I did give her very honest feedback and just tell her that she should have shipped it out sooner. But it was kind of like your buyer. It wasn't so bad that I wanted to return it because I really wanted the purse. And so like, I feel like he really wanted the glove. Christy says, my ugly is creepy. I had a potential buyer want to come shop in person. Freaked me out. I switched my shipping address over to my husband's business P.O. box. I would recommend anyone to have a P.O. box for your eBay. Just, it's more professional in a lot of ways. I set up a P.O. box. If you are going to do YouTube or Instagram or anything, or, you know, try to be a personality in this reselling world, definitely consider a P.O. box, but they raised their rates. They doubled them here. Do you have a P.O. box?
I don't actually.
They doubled them. It was like $60 a year. And now I'm paying $120 a year.
It's still not too bad. You know, when
I guess not.
Divided by 12, you know, $10 a month. It's not horrible,
but it's crazy.
It's definitely a big increase. I mean, every cost of running the business adds up for sure.
Absolutely.
But I've actually never had any problems with that. My biggest concern is that if I ever have tried to sell something on Facebook Marketplace, like a Wii bundle, like back during COVID, I was selling a lot of video games on Facebook Marketplace, and I would just give people my address and just, you know, my concern was that people know where I live now. If the video games didn't work, and, you know, they'd come throw the broken Wii through my window or something in the middle of the night. I don't know. They always worked, but, you know, it's just, yeah, OG and Z got banned for 3 days on eBay.
What happened?
I don't remember 100%. I think it was a Vero for something, if I remember correctly, but I'm probably way off. But
I feel like the things that they should give us a bit more warning about. A Vero that I've had a complaint about, because I know like a lot of us know the basic ones, like don't use the word Velcro. That's a 4-letter word on eBay. Don't use the word onesie unless it truly is a Gerber onesie. Bunt, as in like a bunt cake. You can say bunt cake and it is not a registered trademark. But if you say bunt pan, then it has to be Nordic wear. They Veroed me on that because I said it was a bunt pan because it was like a ring-shaped pan and it was a brand other than Nordic wear.
Wow, that's crazy.
Gino is here. Hey, Gino, how's it going?
Hey, Gino.
Oh, okay. So OG and Z says fake shoe. So I wonder what brand it was. That stinks. And it's one of those things like with the jacket that you sold, the coat that you sold over on Poshmark. I mean, you clearly had the best of intentions and were excited about it.
If I would have gotten a Vero on eBay, I would have had to probably shut down my whole store and start over again, because I'm still, in my opinion, at least, it's a theory. Have a good night. It's my theory, but I'm still suffering a dip in sales from my Allbirds Vero back during the summer. Like why you started your second store? One of the reasons I started the second store, yes. But I truly believe that I'm still paying some repercussions from that all the way back in the summer. And so, you know, It's just, if I got another Vero from that Canada Goose jacket, I would have been like, you know, I would have had to completely delete my eBay store. They might have even taken it down, because I actually got a Vero in July, another Vero in July for some shoe brand called Walky, Wolky.
Oh,
And apparently they don't want you reselling their products. And
like Allbirds.
Like, well, at the time, Allbirds, yeah, but they don't want their stuff being sold on second market. They just want either throw it in the trash or buy it new. You know, they're kind of like one of those brands, you know, and it's not even like a great brand or anything. It was like a $45 pair of sandals or something. And so I got another Vero strike because of that. So I think that is also playing into effect. I didn't get banned or blocked for it, but I have had 7-day suspension, and it sucks.
And you sell like such high volume. So stuff like that worries a seller that doesn't sell nearly as much. What if they make one mistake? Because
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. I feel like there should be obviously a bit more seller protection. He said the shoes were Dior, and I'm wondering if they were like one of the Dior like Nike collabs or something, because those were pretty popular there for a while.
Mark, just send a message of the shoes to Rachel. She'll know exactly what they are.
I don't authenticate a ton of Dior, but yeah. And so much of that stuff, guys, is just like picking it up and like, would you pay based on the quality of this item? Would you pay $400 for it or more? Because like one of my friends over on Instagram, Tim, he recently sent me some Coach bags that I authenticated for him, and unfortunately I wasn't able to authenticate those. I told him that they were fake, and he'd only spent $20 on the pair of them, and he was so willing to, like, he wanted someone else to learn from his mistake, like what we're doing here. And he said, I'm going to send them to you, and will you talk about them on your YouTube and tell people why they're fake? And so I'm like, absolutely, if you really want to spend more money on them and ship them to me. So he did, and I got them in, and I'm like, how did you think these were real? Like, they're so cheap. Bless his heart. But he knows so much stuff about sports cards that I will never know. And I could pick up a sports card and think it was invaluable, and he would be like, Rachel, you have no idea what you're talking about. So
I think going back to what Mark is saying right here, right under that, is with OG and Z, is if you are a full-time reseller on eBay, even if you have never had a Vero strike, I highly recommend creating a second eBay store account. And even if you only list like one item a week on it, you know, just to have a second store as a backup, you just never know. Like, I mean, eBay is so volatile that the truth of the matter is you really could like just get blocked for no reason. That's what happened to Greg, Rocky Mountain Resale. I mean, he got blocked. eBay blocked and banned his account, and he's like forbidden from creating another account on eBay from his IP address. They won't let you create another account from that IP address, because I think his story was something along the lines of like he created an eBay account and he was selling so much stuff so fast, because it was like a hot commodity that he was flipping or something, that eBay flagged his account for fraudulent activity with no warning, no question, no message, no nothing, and they just
they're thinking he's like money laundering or something.
Yep. And now he can't sell on eBay, so he sells full time on Mercari and Facebook Marketplace pretty much.
Oh my gosh, he's got to be like the king of that to be able to do that full time.
Yeah, so it can happen to anybody at any time, and you just never know. Like one Vero, you know, because you don't get notifications on the eBay app when you get a Vero strike. It's only in your email, and the email that I use for my eBay store is a brand new email that I created for that eBay store. It's not like I go in and say, let me check my emails. But
and
now
they email you 1,700 times a day. They're like, oh, your listing's live. Oh, someone liked your listing. Oh, make an offer. Oh, someone bought your listing. Oh, they paid for your listing. Oh, it's time to ship your listing. And it's like,
it could get lost in the flood. If you're grinding and you're listing, you're in your office grinding and listing 40 items, and then you start getting offers, and then you happen to get a Vero while you're listing, you would never see that email in a million years.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they're talking about why in the world are brands able to do this, and like they're able to do whatever they want, and they do own intellectual property rights to these items. So, you know, at the end of the day, I guess they can They can say they don't want it sold wherever they don't want it sold. I mean, that is, we have such amazing freedoms in this country, but with those freedoms are also these abilities for people to say, that's my property, I created it, and you're not going to sell it. And at the end of the day, like, you're under eBay's thumb. We all want to say we're business owners, and we all kind of work for eBay at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
We run our own businesses, but we play by their rules.
It's the truth. And if you're not willing to play by their rules, then, put up or shut up. I mean, there's really not in a mean way, but it's just the truth. It's like, if you have problems with eBay, go start your own eBay then, and
see how hard that might be.
Find the buyer, get that kind of buyer base, and then I'll come to your app. Which is what people like Poshmark and Mercari and Depop and all those places are doing, when they created their reselling apps. But I mean, it's just, eBay is just still kind of the king of the online buying and selling as far as secondhand. There's, even Amazon, you can buy used, but it's not the same. Like, when you see an Amazon listing, you don't actually get pictures of what it is. It's like that stock photo of a Nintendo Wii with 2 controllers, but you might get one that has some scuffs on it, because you're buying it from a reseller,
And what I hate? Like, I hate when I see videos on YouTube of people and they've basically like returned merchandise to Amazon. Like, they'll do this whole Amazon haul, and maybe she tries on like 70 outfits and says, "Oh, I'm only keeping 2 of these." And I'm just like, do you have any idea what you are doing to that seller when you just return this stuff? Even if it's to Walmart, like, that's not pain free for anybody. You're costing somebody when you do that. And Roman says eBay is afraid of lawsuits from brands, so that's why they punish the sellers. Probably a good point there.
I have a friend who is actually not really a friend anymore because he chose to walk away from the friendship, if that's the easy way to put it. But one time I still am upset at him to this day, because he was having like a party, a group of get together at his house, and they decided, like, this is real petty for me to even kind of like bring this up, but I think it makes a good point, is he went to Walmart and bought the board game Twister so he could play it with his friends that night. I wasn't there that night. And then he returned it after he played the next day, because he was like, well, I'm never going to play this game again. And he just returned it to Walmart. And, the fact is that they're $1 trillion company. So, a $10 game is not going to affect Walmart sales. But to me, it's the principle of the thing of what you're doing, because it's like, you don't realize. Yeah, you don't realize that when you use an item, first of all, it can't be resold as new. And second of all, when it's secondhand and you're buying clothing, trying it on and then saying, well, I like this, this, and this, and then I'm going to return it. Like, you're basically stealing food off of someone's dinner table that they're trying to provide for their kids, which is something that eBay doesn't, in my opinion, promote as much as Depop and Poshmark and Mercari. Like, sell out of your closet, have a side hustle, make extra income. Pay your grocery bill by selling on Mercari. Like, at least
that's how I started on eBay, was to pay my grocery bill.
Yeah, I mean, at least it starts putting that thought into people's heads, like, oh wow, maybe these are actual people too, and not just robots. And
yeah, that's true.
But that's the world we live in.
Yeah, but I liked something once of a friend of mine on Instagram posted like a German Bible, or it was like something by like Martin Luther. And I watched it, and eBay sent me an email that week and was like, make an offer to her because she accepts free returns if you don't like it. And I'm like, eBay, why in the world are you like stabbing your seller in the back and going to email and say like, hey, go ahead and make an offer. If you get it and you don't like it, you can just return it. And like, it surprises me that they would say something like that. I don't know why I'm surprised, but I was. They have a question for you. How do you get around the IP address issue when starting a new account? If you have the same IP on the account and they shut one down, the second would be toast as well. Like, I think the only way to get a new IP would be a different physical address, right?
Right. So I'm not an IT guy. So Greg is definitely the guy to talk about. His account on YouTube and Instagram is Rocky Mountain Resale. The way that you get around it is you start that account before your IP address gets completely blocked. So that's the only way that I'm aware of it. Like, you start. So like I started a second account with my wife's email address, and it's still under our same IP address at home, but if you get blocked, then you can't set up another one with that same IP address, which is why I said do it now, because if that account gets
you're like grandfathered in,
kind of, you still have that other account that you can fall back on because it's still active.
That is so smart. Like my husband has an eBay account, so
right, so you could use that if yours got completely blocked. Yes,
but recently they took down all of his items.
I wouldn't use that one.
He had like 3 things listed, but he never opted in to manage payments. And so they sent him an email today and said, we took down your 6 listings or whatever. Like he doesn't care. He doesn't sell on eBay. But yeah, they were so serious about that managed payments. Making a new account right now.
I mean, it's worth it. Even if you never list on it until your account got banned, like I hope and pray that this never happens to anybody, because it's the worst thing that could happen. You know, I hope that it doesn't happen. But if you at least have that account made and created, you don't even have to have activity on it, but it's already at least there. So you could start listing right away if your account, if you had a Vero that you didn't know about, like let's just say you listed a P90X, CD or something like that, or whatever Sean T's program is called too. The
Beachbody, it's all Beachbody stuff.
Yeah, Beachbody stuff. And, then eBay just like, nope, blocked, banned, I mean, there's no turning back once that happens.
You have raised such a good point. Like, I'm going to share this in a future video and I will shout you out about it. My wife got a message directly from Melaleuca, a shampoo brand, threatening her to take the product off of eBay. She contacted eBay and they basically told her to ignore any email from outside of eBay. I have heard of people getting cease and desist directly from the company. And I agree with that I think they're like kind of trying to push their weight around as a corporation. Unless they actually have filed something to have like a Vero claim on eBay, I'd ignore it also.
Yep. Yeah, if they're not on the Vero list, which I have 2 YouTube videos about, they're a little farther back, but if you type in Profit Monsters Vero, you can find it. And I have a link in the description of that video that takes you directly onto eBay's website where it'll show you all the names if you want to go check that out of all the items that are Vero'd. But with what Anfisa is saying too, you could always just create a second account as a buyer if you buy stuff on eBay. Like even if you are selling a Guitar Hero guitar and you need a dongle, so you go on eBay and you buy a dongle, like use that second account to get feedback.
That's good
as
idea.
A buyer, so you already have some type of traction.
Yeah, that's again with my husband's account. Like he has more feedback, I feel like, than I do, because before we met, apparently he never bought anything that wasn't on eBay. When my husband and I first met, I was like, why do you shop on eBay? Why would you ever sell anything on eBay? And who knew that years down the road, I would be the eBay reseller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Well, I definitely want to showcase if I missed anyone's good, bad, or ugly, because I told you guys that you'd have the opportunity to do that also. Or if anyone has any questions for Drew or for myself, drop them in the chat. You guys are seriously stellar for hanging out with us this long. I mean, I just thought on Fridays, most of us resellers are homebodies because we're working 24 hours a day anyway. But that's how you know you like your job. When you wake up and the first thing you do is grab your phone, not to check Instagram, not to check like Facebook or anything, but to see what sold overnight. Like, you know that you like your job when you have a day off and you want to go sourcing and you want to do something for your job. Like, I just feel so blessed that we can even do this.
Yeah. Well, and thanks again for having me, and to everybody who's listened to anything I had to say and put up with me. I hope it's brought some type of value to the viewers. So
I feel like this is chat that is really valuable in the community, because like, I don't want to ask you, how did you get started in reselling? First of all, everyone's probably heard it 7 times. And like we just need to have this actual valuable round the water cooler type of chat.
There needs to be this understanding that it's okay to talk about real things in reselling and not just, like, hey, so how, like you said, how'd you get your start in reselling, and what's your life like? And I mean, because when everybody wants to interview the big people too, and so then you go back and you watch, like, every YouTuber has an interview with Cincinnati Picker, every YouTuber has an interview with Harry Tornado, and it's just like, I'm not learning anything anymore. I'm like, you
like
know?
a big YouTuber. Like I have 3,400 people that are invaluable to me that subscribe to me, and I love every single one of you guys. But I'm tired of sharing the story about how I started reselling. So I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing it. Like I do desperately want to have conversation that matters, and I feel like hopefully that's what we've accomplished tonight. And to anyone watching it back later, I'm going to be on every Friday at the exact same time, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock for the East Coast. And I told you guys on Instagram earlier, figure it out if you're not in one of those time zones. And so every Friday we will be talking with a different guest about the good, the bad, and the ugly on eBay, and just learning from each other's mistakes. Because if I make a $50 mistake, I'm going to get my $50 worth if I teach you guys something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like bringing that value. So Drew, is there anything else that you have coming up? Are you going to be doing lives starting with your wife sometime soon? I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you.
I'm probably not going to do lives with my wife, but I am going to do a video, like sit down like this style, where I'm going to ask her some questions and like get her raw answers like on camera and see what she has to say, like about her opinions of, you know, my reselling business, if I'm lazy, if I'm you know, what she thinks about all sorts of things. But if I could say one thing, I'm only 48 subscribers away from hitting 10,000.
So beautiful. That is such a huge accomplishment. If, like I said earlier, if you guys are living under a rock and you're not subscribed to Drew, I'll go back on YouTube and put your link. And I'm sure Jennifer's probably dropped it as well. But Jennifer, maybe if you could drop, she's just the best ever. If you could drop Drew's link, I'm sure everyone here is, if they're subscribed to me, they're already subscribed to you. I'm not going to help you out any here, Drew.
Oh, please trust me. There's plenty of people that are smaller than me that have tons of viewers that have never even heard of me. So, if you don't listen to the Triple Thrift podcast and you're wanting reselling content, you can check that out. It's on every listening platform. It's called the Triple Thrift Cop podcast. Me, Joey Bada 22, and Harry Tornado. We just talk about our life, all things reselling, ins and outs, and that's something you can listen to while you're shipping or driving or whatever. And something that you guys can hold me accountable to is I'm going to be starting a smaller podcast series on my channel called Reseller Ramble.
Oh, nice.
Where my goal is to be 5 days a week minimum, Monday through Friday. Every day, it's going to be like a 5 to 10 minute video where I talk about one specific topic for 5 to 10 minutes. And it's like a podcast style where I'm just going to sit and talk about it. And kind of like what we did today with certain things. Like I'm going to share about my opinions on Poshmark one episode, my opinions on this topic on eBay, what people are saying about this thing in reselling, what I've learned about this or that. And so hopefully that will be beneficial to the reselling community. I'm going to try to keep them short so that it's something people can like listen to, but something that is like kind of, I don't know, fast paced, if that's the right word for it. If you like listening, I'm a talker, so I'm going to do it anyway and see how it works out. And hopefully it benefits the community.
I love it. That'll be awesome. Well, again, a huge thanks to everybody that came and hung out with us tonight. Please be sure that you're subscribed to both of us and come back next Friday. And if you are considering being a guest on this show, also reach out to me, reseller Rachel Strickland over on Instagram. And I'm just going to end this and tell you guys the same thing I tell you every single video. Don't forget to treat your business like your business, and God bless you guys in the biggest way.